Hello everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. This is one of the most confusing things about our instrument. Why is a recorder called a recorder? Is that like a tape recorder? Well, I am going to tell you, if we go back in time, all the way to 1388, we find the first mention of a recorder written down. This was found in the household accounts of the Earl of Derby, who would later become King Henry IV. I'd just like to interject that I am from Derby, the least interesting city in England. Yep, so in his household accounts they wrote, "One flute by the name of a recorder, bought in London for 3 shillings and 4 pence. From then on, recorders appear in poetry and in theatre all over the place. I actually got this information from a great website called the Recorder homepage. I'll link it in the description. Good, but what does recorder actually mean? Well, as far as we can tell, it comes from the verb to record, meaning to commit to memory or to learn by heart. Also like from the Italian ricordare. And bear with me for this story. This verb was applied to teaching birds to sing. Noblemen of high stature would have these beautiful caged songbirds that could whistle a whole range of melodies. And how did these birds learn those melodies? With recorders. Yeah, they would employ people to stand there going, and then these fancy noblemen could say, "Look how many tunes my bird can sing." This was impressive in the 14th century. Today you can even buy a book of sheet music called The Bird Fancier's Delight, which is a collection of these tunes from different songbirds. And later it's been suggested that recorders were also used to help singers learn their melodies. So I think we can safely say in English, a recorder is called a recorder because it was used to help you learn tunes by heart, to record them into your brain. So there you go. But what about other languages? Let's dig a bit deeper. A while back here on YouTube, I asked you guys what language you speak and how you say recorder in that language. And we collected over 80 languages. And I started to notice something interesting. You could separate these different words for recorder into different categories. Before I get into it, I also want to say a lot of countries have multiple ways of saying recorder. So if I say something now and you're like, "That's wrong!" Yeah, so let's dive in. First of all, we had the native English speaking countries, the UK, America, Canada, Australia, where you say recorder. Then there were a lot of places where you use the word for recorder, but then spelt adapted phonetically for your language. So let's have a look. We have Scottish Gaelic, Welsh, Malay, Bisaya, Swahili, Urdu, isiZulu, Shona, Xhosa. And of course, everything that you guys sent in to me, I was double checking and investigating further on the internet. And then I realised there are some languages where it's written in that script or alphabet, but it's actually the word recorder. So we have Korean,
recorder,
Japanese,
recorder,
Thai,
recorder,
and Arabic,
recorder.
So these are a lot of places where the English word for recorder has been adapted. The next largest category are the languages that call it some variation of block flute. Well, what does block flute mean? On a recorder, this part of wood here in the head joint is called the block. I'll just take it out for you. This piece of wood, the block, guides the air within the windway to the right place to produce the sound. Block flute. So we have in Dutch, as in Flemish and Afrikaans, blokfluit. In German, blokflöte. Swiss German, Turkish, Latvian, Croatian, Estonian. In the north we have Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Iceland. And then we have Russian, Ukrainian, Serbian. One of you wrote to me that recorder in Klingon is botdava, which apparently translates as block flute. I love that recorders exist in the Star Trek universe. I thought it was interesting that these block flute languages are largely the northern Scandinavian Germanic part of Europe, with some exceptions. Then we have the category sweet flute. So all looking quite similar, we have Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, Sicilian, the kind of Romance languages. But then when I was really digging deep into Google Translate, there were some other languages that weren't immediately apparent, but it's also sweet flute. So in Tagalog, we have plot ang matamis, and this matamis means sweet flute. In Yoruba language from Nigeria, we also have the fere didun, and this didun, Google translated it as delightful, which for me it could also mean sweet, delightful flute, sweet flute. After this, we have the languages that say a beak flute. Beak referring to the mouthpiece part of the recorder rather than this kind of flute which blows like this. The one that springs to mind first is French, flûte à bec, Spanish, flauta de pico, Esperanto. Then we also have zobkova fletna or flauta in Czech and Slovakian, Slovenian, kylnast flauta, and in Finnish, nokka hoilu. This nokka translated as a nose, which is like the nose of your recorder. And then the last main category are the straight flute. So this is referring to the recorder played like this rather than this. We have Latin, tibia recta, Lithuanian, Italian, Polish. We have Japanese, date fue, straight flute, Mandarin, shi di, straight flute. And then we get to the kind of miscellaneous category where the recorder is referred to in a number of different ways. In Chinese, we also have mu di, wooden flute. In Irish, we have this, which translates to English flute. In Mexico, the flauta barroca or the baroque flute. In Hebrew, chalalit, which is like a diminutive derived from the word for hollow, a hollow flute. And in Tongan, fuluta moa, a front flute. In Maori, the kuawa utekura, which as far as my detective work could tell me translates to a school flute. And then we have some where you guys told me that it doesn't really translate to anything, it's just the word. In Greek, in Hungarian, in Arabic, in Gaelic, furulia, flogera, flub, those are just like the words for flute. And then a few of you wrote to me with names that you're applying to a recorder, but normally they refer to a traditional flute in your own country. So we have in Hindi, the bansuri, from Indonesia, the suling, in Bangla, the bashi, in Canada or Tamil, the pulangkulal. So that is where my research took me, based on the names for recorder that you wrote to me with. Thank you to everybody who participated, and if I've gotten something with yours wrong or if something is missing, then please let me know in the comments. So some of these names refer to its sound, some to its construction and design, and some to its purpose. I think it's so nice that we approach our instrument like that in so many different ways. La 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 la. This video is going to get very cheesy now, so I'm going to stop. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here. Down here is the Team Recorder Patreon where you can support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram and Spotify, and up here are reasons why the recorder is amazing. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye!